You are live.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. This is a regular meeting of the Bangor City Council. Today is Monday, June 23rd, 2025, and it is 7 p.m. We do have one councilor attending remotely tonight, so we need to begin with a roll call just to take attendance.
Councillor Beck?
Present.
Councillor Dean?
Present.
Councillor Fish?
Here.
Councillor Fournier? Councillor Hawes?
Here.
Councillor Leonard?
Present.
Councillor Mallor?
Oh, he's muted.
Councillor Mallor?
Here, present.
Councillor Trumbull?
Here.
Councillor Pelletier?
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Great. Thank you. We begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask our Director of Water Quality Management, Amanda Smith, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For the notes, Councilor Fournier has joined us. And first item up tonight, we have a proclamation proclaiming June as Pride Month. Councilor Beck.
Thank you.
Proclamation proclaiming June as Pride Month. Whereas Pride Month commemorates the Stonewall riots of June 1969, which were followed on June 28, 1970, with people who gathered just outside the Stonewall Inn in New York City for the Christopher Street Gay Liberation Day March, now recognized as the first Pride Parade, and whereas July 7th marks the 41st anniversary of the death of Charlie Howard, a 23-year-old gay man murdered for his sexuality in 1984, spurring citizens of the city of Bangor to hold vigils, memorials, and protests in his memory. And whereas Pride Month is a celebration of survival and a call for equal justice and equal opportunity for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit people. And whereas the city of Bangor strives to be a community that is welcoming and supportive of all its members, regardless of ethnicity, gender, age, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And whereas the city of Bangor upholds the legal non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ+ Mainers passed in 2005 as one of the 25 states in the nation to include protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression in employment, housing, education, credit, and public accommodations. And whereas the city of Bangor upholds the legal protections by the state of Maine, including the gender-neutral mark on driver's licenses, the prohibition of discrimination against LGBTQ people by health insurance companies, and the prohibition of licensed healthcare providers from practicing conversion therapy on minors. And whereas Pride Month is an opportunity to celebrate and be supportive of the hard work of the thriving Bangor LGBTQ+ community in fighting for their rights and acceptance, and acknowledge the ongoing work of the citizens of Bangor to advocate for equal rights. And whereas on Saturday, June 28th, Bangor Pride's main event is the Pride Parade and Festival, and whereas the city of Bangor thanks the volunteers and sponsors in the community for working hard to make Bangor Pride 2025 representative, engaging, and affirming. Now therefore I, Michael Beck, on behalf of Cara Pelletier, Mayor of the City of Bangor, and on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Bangor, do hereby proclaim June as Pride Month in the City of Bangor and urge all community members to be respectful and supportive of their fellow citizens regardless of race, gender, age, gender identity, or sexual orientation for this, the 55th year of Pride.
Organizers of Bangor Pride here to accept the proclamation. Would you like to say a few words?
First day council meeting, how notice. Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you introduce yourselves, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
For the record, I'm Cameron Grover, also known as Carmelo Valor, locally in Jafar.
Sam White, my pronouns are she, her. Emma Evelington, pronouns she, her.
Much in mind, they are they, them. I will just kind of read through what I have prepared. Good evening, City Council members and the rest of all in attendance as well. Thank you for being here. My name is Cameron Grover. As I said before, I am also known as Carmela Valor. I am a drag performer and entertainer in this area. And I am here representing Bangor Pride alongside Sam and Emma. On behalf of our entire committee, I want to thank you sincerely for your attention and continued support of our work. We do not take this moment or the responsibility that we have for this city lightly. Bangor Pride exists not only to celebrate the vibrant LGBTQIA2+ community that it calls the city home, but also to collaborate with organizations, agencies, and community groups across Bangor in the shared goal of creating a city that is open, accepting, and affirming for all people. We recognize the importance of intersectionality in that work, and we strive to lift up and stand beside many other equally important communities that continue to face oppression and marginalization. We are proud to announce that Bangor Pride 2025 is scheduled for Saturday, June 28th, as previously mentioned by Councilor Peck, thank you. We will begin the day with a parade through downtown Bangor from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. accompanied by our festival in West Market Square and the surrounding area. From 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. where the vendors, speeches, and performances of many kinds, one from yours truly, will be from our talented community and beyond will take place. It is a day of joy, remembrance, resistance, and visibility, and we hope all of you will join us in celebrating. Once again, thank you for your time, your partnership, and your commitment to making Bangor a place where every person is not only welcomed, but truly seen and valued. Bangor takes steps every day towards the future, and we can't help but feel that this moment could be seen and felt to be a jump towards progress. Let's keep moving together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the portion of the meeting set aside for general public comment related to city business that do not appear on this evening's agenda. Public comment, whether in person or via Zoom, requires you to state your name and whether you are a resident of Bangor. The City Council has adopted a public comment policy that we will adhere to that governs topics, comments considered out of order or offensive or confidential, and a time limit of 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, with the ability of the chair to reopen public comment at the conclusion of the regular business meeting. Each person is limited to 3 minutes during the public comment period. You will hear an alarm go off when your time is up. The public comment period is intended for City Council members to listen, not to respond or debate with persons during the public comment period, although we may ask questions. If you do not live in Bangor or own property in Bangor, please allow those who do to have the opportunity to speak first. If you'd like to offer comment on any item related to city business not appearing on the regular agenda, you may approach the podium. On Zoom, the public can be recognized to speak by using the hand raise function or on the phone by pressing *9.
Hello. Morning, my name is Michael. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michael Norton. Lunar Computation Systems is a company I founded in 2020. Happy Pride Month, happy Pride Day, Semper Pride, happy birthday, Faith Coates, very special woman I met 10 years ago. It's birthday. If you're listening out there in TV land, happy birthday. All right, so I think the first suggestion is I think people should speak from right over here.
Mr. Norton, you need to be at the microphone so the
fine.
people on Zoom can hear you. Thank you.
Sorry, TV land. I think people should speak over there so they can face everyone in the room and not have to moon them all the time when they speak. But tonight is education night on the agenda. A lot of money going to the Bangor schools for the next fiscal year, starting July 1st. And things magnetism studies has modern and correct answers for in science are the magnetism constant, the periodic table of elements of magnetic functions, why the sky is predominantly blue, and why the sky is colorful at sunrise and sunset, the complete annotation, the clocking, and the numbering of the Earth's magnetic field lines. Right now, they're just drawn circular around the Earth, and the people who publish them at our universities all over the world will change the image and stretch the lines out, say, oh, the tail's way over there, but they're not numbered. There's no ordinance to them at all. There's no scientific rigor to them at all. So here, can't read my own handwriting. Oh, the distinguishing of a 4-interval daily tide system, each with unique functions beyond the high and low tides every day. They all have systemic functions in nature. We should have a united nation, not a United Nations, a united nature. Because it seems like a country club to me. An explanation as to how rainbows occur, utilizing the periodic table of magnetism and not only Newton's prism glass spectrum service from 400 years ago before the periodic table even existed. The water balance, the watermark of the Earth's magnetic field rotation daily. Tide line, field line by field line. Something your new fire chief, Lowe, would love to hear about more, I'm sure. And evidence that the Geminids and the Leonids meteor showers each year prove 2 historic Earth and Moon geological impact moments, not just one, the asteroid and then when the Moon took off from the Earth. Thank you.
Good evening. I would also like to speak when it comes time for the agenda item on the budget. This is something different. Good evening. My name is Scott Hardy. I'm a resident of Bangor, and I stand before you tonight to address an urgent matter concerning public health and safety in our beloved city. For too long, our public outhouses, intended as accessible facilities for all, have regrettably become unsafe injection sites. This is not merely speculation. We have seen the evidence firsthand. Broken sharps containers are a common sight, and discarded needles are found scattered in and around these facilities, creating an incredibly dangerous environment for our children, our sanitation workers, and indeed any member of the public who tries to use these spaces. Tyler, my friend Tyler, who works with me, will be emailing you pictures that were taken today. The implications of this situation are profound. Beyond the immediate threat of accidental needle sticks and the potential transmission of serious diseases, there is a palpable sense of fear and unease it casts over public spaces. This is an issue that affects our community's well-being, our reputation, and our shared sense of security. We cannot and must not allow these conditions to persist. This problem, while complex, has a proven and compassionate solution: the establishment of safe injection sites, also known as overdose prevention centers. They are controlled, hygienic environments where individuals can inject pre-obtained drugs under the supervision of trained medical staff. The benefits are clear and compelling. First, they drastically reduce the public health risks associated with drug use, preventing overdose deaths and curbing the spread of blood-borne diseases like HIV and hepatitis C. Second, they virtually eliminate the issue of discarded needles in public spaces, making our parks, streets, and outhouses safer for everyone. Thirdly, and crucially, these sites serve as vital access points, connecting individuals struggling with addiction to essential health services, counseling, and pathways to treatment and recovery. They are not about enabling drug use, but about saving lives and fostering a healthier community. I urge this council to consider the overwhelming evidence from cities around the world that have successfully implemented safe injection sites. This is not just harm reduction. It is a public safety imperative. It is an act of compassion for those struggling with addiction and a practical step towards reclaiming our public spaces for all Bangor residents. Let us prioritize the health and safety of every individual in our community. Let us explore this solution with the urgency and seriousness it deserves. Thank you. Any questions or concerns?
Thank you.
My name is Justin Cartier, resident of Bangor. November 11th is designated as Veterans Day. However, we have 15 million living veterans in this country. Over 100,000 veterans here in this state of Maine. We have, and that's a 17% decrease since 2012. Almost 10% of this state has served in our armed forces. The Vietnam War saw almost 9 million men and women serving, and 7.3 million of them are still alive today. Why do we not have a month for these veterans? You know, this month saw the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, the 75th anniversary of the Korean War. We also are looking at the 250th anniversary of our Army and our Navy and our Marines. And even our current president's birthday falls in this month. And whatever you think of him, he is our president, unfortunately. And it looks like we'll be going to war again here soon. When are we going to have a month dedicated to these veterans? You know, as I said, there's already been a 17.3% decrease in the veterans we have in the state. If we wait any longer, that number is going to continue to dwindle. And we really need to elevate these people. You know, you could unite us under the one flag that is diverse and all-inclusive. Nothing could be more equitable than supporting the 15 million living veterans of our foreign wars. We need to proclaim a month as Veterans Month and fly Al Gore from every pole in the city and show the respect to these men and women that they deserve. They deserve more than just a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? I just wanted to make one point. So the month of November is actually nationally recognized as National Veterans and Military Families Month. And the month of May is actually nationally recognized as Military Appreciation Month, which I agree are two important months to celebrate.
And when has Bangor ever proclaimed that? It hasn't.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Aaron Pyle. I'm a Bangor resident, and I'd like to state my concern that property possibly in Bangor has been secured for a new Penobscot County jail without approval from citizens of Penobscot County, citizens of Bangor, or Bangor City Council. I'm worried that this decision has been made in haste and without fully considering the many effective alternatives. People who have been to jail often need help, not punishment. Low or no income, physical and or mental health issues, drug use, addiction, trauma, they do not need the life-altering stress of living in a jail, often for many months, often for committing a low-level offense. There are many service providers in Bangor doing difficult work, and they need more support. Often they're scattered around the area, which requires people to travel. These providers may also have long wait lists. This obviously makes it challenging to receive those needed services, even for people who aren't harmed through incarceration. This affects the non-incarcerated community as well. It sounds selfish, but I'm stressed out and saddened seeing people around Bangor who can't get the most basic help. Communities aren't stronger with a larger jail, they're more stressed. I respectfully request that you, 1, vote against any measures that support the construction of a new jail. The projected costs are exorbitant in the tens of millions, and this jail will divert essential resources from community-based solutions that address the root causes of crime. 2, advocate for alternative solutions. Support initiatives that focus on rehabilitation, mental health services, and community development. And 3, engage with the community. Hold public forums to discuss the issue and gather input from residents. Incarceration is a reaction, not a preventative solution. Building a new jail signals a commitment to punishment over prevention. Our community deserves investments that promote safety and well-being, not incarceration. As a concerned citizen, I urge you to oppose the county's attempts to construct a new jail. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question, sir. I have not heard that the county has selected a site. Do you have information on the address?
The minutes for recent Penobscot County Commissioner meetings have said that there's a money put down on a option agreement for land. But there's no details on where the land is, how much the land is for sale for, just that there's an agreement.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who wants to offer public comment?
Hello, my name is Katie Bryden. I am speaking
As a resident of Bangor, here just to formally thank you for your dedication to creating such an inclusive Bangor and for the proclamation, and to publicly thank the volunteers for Bangor Pride who have really gone, I believe, out of their way to make this year's Pride as loud and proud as it should be. And I know that it's vulnerable times, and I appreciate the work that this council continues to do to make Bangor a wonderful place to live. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close the initial public comment period. It looks like we have a few hands raised online, so after the conclusion of the regular business meeting, we will reopen public comment. Consent agenda.
Minutes of Bangor City Council meeting of June 9th, 2025. Business and Economic Development Committee meetings of April 23rd, 2025, May 5th, 2025, and May 19th, 2025. Infrastructure Committee meeting of May 19th, 2025, and Finance Committee meeting of May 5th, 2025. 25-211 order authorizing the city manager to accept $1,490.05 in funds as a result of a state criminal forfeiture. Michael. 25-212 order adopting a memorial recognition policy. 25-213 order authorizing contract for sodium chloride rock salt with New England Salt Company. 25-214 order authorizing a contract with Sargent Corporation for the supply of hot mix asphalt and polymer cold patch. 25-215 order authorizing the sale of property at 0 Chase Road in the amount of $9,900 to Dylan Lamoth. 25-216 order authorizing extension of a contract with B&B Paving Inc. in the amount of $1,500,000 for the calendar year 2026 paving program. 25-217 order authorizing the execution of a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Bangor and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 926-01, Council 93, representing aircraft mechanics. 25-218 order authorizing the city manager to execute a lease amendment with Hannaford Brothers Company, LLC, located at 39 Florida Avenue. 25-219 order authorizing the city manager to execute a reassignment of lease for JSI store fixtures located at 110 Hildreth Street. 25-220 order authorizing execution of an agreement renewal with Lyft Inc., doing business as Lyft, to provide passenger transport service to the Bangor International Airport. 25-221 order authorizing execution of an agreement renewal with Razor LLC, doing business as Uber, to provide passenger transport service to the Bangor International Airport.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Move passage of consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion. There's a second. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fornia?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
I'm not asking to unmute.
Vote yes.
Thank you. Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Consent agenda has passage. Unfinished business.
25-192 ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances to create a commercial property assessed clean energy program. Councilor Leonard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I make a motion on 25-192.
Second.
This ordinance change would create a commercial property assessed clean energy program so that owners of qualifying property can access financing for energy saving improvements to their commercial properties located in the city. This program works via a variety of property owner borrowing money from a capital provider to pay for the upfront cost of energy efficiency or renewable energy improvements. The capital is secured through a property tax assessment with an associated lien on the subject property. In the program created by this ordinance, Efficiency Maine would serve as the program administrator, and a third-party capital provider registered with Efficiency Maine would provide the financing for the project. The administrative burden to the city would be minimal, and the city would not be financially liable for repayment of loans under this program in the case of tax foreclosure on an enrolled property. By providing an additional avenue for financing of energy efficiency, This program can help commercial property owners in the city save money and reduce their carbon footprint. This item was reviewed and recommended at the Business and Economic Development Committee on June 16th, 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Leonard. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item?
How does it help the businesses, whether they're small or big? You mentioned the commercial property owner. How does it help the small businesses or big businesses? Does anyone want to answer that? Perspective.
Any other questions or comments on this item?
Nobody wants to answer that question on the council?
I think the answer is both. It helps small business and bigger businesses.
Well, you can say that, but my question was how does it help the small or big businesses? You mentioned in the writing that it helps commercial property owners. Can we have a specific example of how it helps small or big businesses? And is the energy, what is it called, the Clean Energy Administrator, are they accessible to business owners? Or will they be?
Anya,
Or
would you
just
like to join
commercial
us?
property owners?
Hello. I'm Colette, Planning Officer. This helps small and large businesses because it provides an avenue to finance energy efficiency improvements on their property. So it's just another way for them to get money for those improvements. What was the second question? Sorry.
Oh, will the energy administrator be accessible to business owners?
Yep, it's all through Efficiency Maine Trust, and they'll be handling all of that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes?
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-192 has passage. Next item.
25-193, ordinance amending Chapter 223, property maintenance, Article 2, vacant buildings. Councilor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This ordinance amendment would revise the city's vacant buildings ordinance to, 1, allow for temporary, conditional, and limited deferral of the payment of the vacant buildings registration fee in 2 circumstances. 2, to eliminate interim vacant building permits. 3, clarify the duration of the vacant building permit. And 4, update the maintenance standards applied by code enforcement upon inspection of vacant buildings. Under this proposed amendment, there would be 2 instances where the required payment of the vacant building registration fee could be conditionally deferred by a limited period of time. First, the fee could be deferred for up to 6 months, with the possibility of an extension for another 6 months, up to 1 year total. In the event of a fire or other casualty event in the owner's primary residence that renders the residence uninhabitable. The second instance, where the required payment of the registration fee could be conditionally deferred for up to 6 months, with the possibility of an extension for another 6 months, up to 1 year total, would be where the owner has an active building permit on file with the Code Enforcement Office. Both of these deferrals would require the owner to register the property as vacant and arrange for the required inspection. In the event the property is no longer vacant before the end of the deferral period, the payment of the fee would be waived. In the event that the property remains vacant after the period of deferral, the owner would be required to pay the original registration fee, as well as any renewal fees that become due during the period of deferral. This amendment would also do away with the interim vacant building permits in order to make the process and enforcement less confusing for citizens and the Code Enforcement Office. The proposed amendments also clarify the duration of the vacant building permit, stating that the permit is valid for 6 months from the date that the completed vacant building registration application is submitted and the registration fee paid. Finally, the proposed amendments update the maintenance standards that the Code Enforcement Office must apply upon inspecting vacant buildings to bring the standards more in line with the ordinance's purpose. This item was reviewed by the GovOp Committee on June 2nd, 2025. I move passage of ordinance 25-193.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dean. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? I will say, it was earlier last year that I think we amended the vacant buildings code to assess new fees for vacant buildings that stay vacant for a certain period of time, with the goal to get those vacant buildings occupied and back, providing housing for people in Bangor. We have heard from a few folks that there are instances like a fire where a little bit of flexibility and deferment of the fees makes sense in order to help people get back on their feet and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to bring the buildings back online. So this is in response to that. And I'm very happy to see this go through, right? This is an example of a place where we're providing flexibility in the code and ordinance to meet the needs of our citizens. So it's one of those small, very unsexy items that gets passed without much discussion, but I think it will make a difference in the lives of folks who have experienced a casualty event, unfortunately, in their home. All right, roll call vote.
Councillor Beck?
Yes.
Councillor Dean?
Yes.
Councillor Fish?
Yes.
Councillor Fournier?
Yes.
Councillor Hawes?
Yes.
Councillor Leonard?
Yes.
Councillor Mallor?
Yes.
Councillor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councillor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-193 has passage.
25-194, resolve, making an appropriation for the total school budget for the Bangor School Department as required by 28 MRS Section 156904A. Councillor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move for passage of Council Resolve 25-194.
Second.
I move to amend Council Resolve 25-194 by substitution to replace it with the amended resolve that has been provided to the council and reflects the changes adopted by the school board since the initial budget submission.
Second.
So
This
we need to vote on the amendment by substitution first? Yes. Roll call vote.
Councillor Beck?
No.
Councillor Dean?
Yes.
Councillor Fish?
Yes.
Councillor Fournier?
Yes.
Councillor Hawes?
Yes.
Councillor Leonard?
No.
Councillor Mallor?
No.
Councillor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councillor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
This resolve will appropriate the total school budget in the amount of $62,043,968 as required by 20-A MRSA Section 156904A. This appropriation represents the total annual budget for the funding public education from pre-K to grade 12. This article does not provide money unless the other articles are approved. I move for passage as amended, 25-194 resolve.
Allowed to comment? There's supposed to be a space.
We have a motion, we have a second. Yes, you're allowed to comment.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to make a note that that's $1,771 per resident, Bangor per year, and $148 per month.
Other comments? Councilor Beck?
Tonight, I'll be voting no on the appropriation for the school budget. Education has always been a cornerstone of this community, a shared value that shapes our children's future and the strength of our city. And that's not just rhetoric, it's backed by nearly a century of annual reports and a deep tradition of support in the city. This vote is not a criticism of the school committee. I believe they did their job thoughtfully, presenting a lean and responsible budget after multiple rounds of reductions. Yes, the city council holds the authority to appropriate funds, and that authority matters, but I believe it should be used to make further cuts in clear, extreme cases. If there's obvious waste, or if we've truly exhausted every other way to balance the budget without unfairly burdening taxpayers, and that's not what happened here. In this case, the city had other tools available, reserves and other strategies that could have avoided this cut to the schools. And while we've since learned that the schools can absorb the reduction this year because one program had its partner withdrawal, that wasn't known at the time of the council's request. It was luck, not strategy, that softened the blow, and that's what concerns me. When cuts are made without clear justification, it sets a precedent, one that could unintentionally create an arms race of budgeting. Future school committees might feel pressured to build in buffers, not out of dishonesty, but out of a sincere desire to safeguard our children's education from unpredictable decisions. That's not the kind of budgeting culture I want to create. Our process should be built on mutual trust, transparency, and shared responsibility. And let's not forget that $165,000 could have been put to work for our youngest residents. The school department could have used it to further invest in early childhood education, behavioral health supports, or programming that lifts up our most vulnerable students. We are facing interconnected challenges in Bangor: housing insecurity, substance use, and generational poverty. And education is one of the most powerful tools we have to break those cycles. When we shortchange our schools, we don't just delay progress in the classroom, we delay progress across the entire city. So tonight, my no vote is a stand for responsible budgeting, not just balancing numbers, but making thoughtful decisions with real impacts in mind. It's a vote for transparency, for consistency, and for the kind of long-term support our schools deserve.
Other questions or comments? Counselor Trumbull.
Well, I would just comment, I want to thank the school department for their willingness to work with us on this. This has been an extremely tough budget year for the city, and we asked them to make a modest, take a look and see what they could do for modest cuts. They came back, I think they were able to contract out for the, I think there was a family medical leave that they were able to contract out and save some money. And also, they found some other savings within their budgeting. They didn't cut one, I don't believe they cut one position, one program from the budget that was proposed. So I think this is a fair budget. I mean, it's a tough time, and I think the school department did a great job with the budget, and this is very, very, very reasonable. So I just want to thank the school department for what they come back with.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Counselor Beck?
No.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Fish?
Yes.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Hawes?
Yes.
Counselor Leonard?
No.
Counselor Mallard?
No.
Counselor Tremble?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
6-3.
25-194 has passage. Next item.
25-195, resolve approving school department estimates of revenue and budget, trusted agency fund. Counselor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve will approve the school department's trust and agency budget in the amount of $3,624,735. I move passage of resolve 25-195.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Counselor Beck?
Yes.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Fish?
Yes.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Hawes?
Yes.
Counselor Leonard?
Yes.
Counselor Mallard? He's on mute.
Yes.
Counselor Tremble?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-196 has passage. 195 has passage. Where are we on this list? Next item.
25-196, resolve approving school department estimates of revenue from state sources and budget enterprise fund. Counselor Beck.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move passage of Resolve 25-196.
Second.
This resolve will approve the school department's enterprise fund budget in the amount of $2,590,724 for the period of July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. If approved, the fund includes $2,525,527 for the food services programs and $65,200 for adult ed enrichment. Madam Chair, I move passage of Resolve 25-196.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
There was a second.
There was a second. Thank you. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Counselor Beck?
Yes.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Fish?
Yes.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Hawes?
Yes.
Counselor Leonard?
Yes.
Counselor Mallard?
Yes.
Counselor Tremble?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-196 has passage. Next item.
25-197, resolve approving school department estimates of revenue from state sources and budget special revenue fund. Counselor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move passage of Council Resolve 25-197.
Second.
I move to amend Council Resolve 25-197 by substitution to replace it with the amended resolve that has been provided to the council, which reflects changes adopted by the school board since the initial budget submission.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Need to vote on amend by substitution, roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
This resolve will approve the school department's special revenue fund in the amount of $3,401,919. These special revenues are used to support a variety of educational activities as detailed in the resolve. I move passage of 25-197 resolve
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
25-197 has passage. Next item.
25-198, resolve making an appropriation of $451,792 for adult education for the Bangor School Department as required by 20A MRS Section 8603A1. Councilor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve will appropriate funding for the adult education in the amount of $451,792, the local share of which is $260,000. I move passage of Resolve 25-198.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion, there's a second. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-198 has passage. Next item.
25-199, resolve vocational education region number 4 appropriation pursuant to Title 20A, Chapter 606, 15601-15619, Maine Revised Statutes. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve will approve expenditures as required by Title 20A MRS for the vocational education region number 4 operating budget in the amount of $5,603,413.72 and the local share for adult education of $18,022.96. I would move passage of Resolve 25-199.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-199 has passage. Next item.
25-200, resolve making an appropriation of $2,380,000 for non-state funded debt service allocation for the Bangor School Department as required by 20A MRS Section 156902A. Councilor Fournier.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval of Resolve 25-200.
Second.
Thank you. This will be making an appropriation of $2,380,000 for non-state funded debt service allocation for the Bangor School Department as required by 20-A MRS Section 156902A.
Thank you, Councilor Fournier. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-200 has passage. Next item.
25-201, resolve making an appropriation for the Bangor School Department in excess of the minimum spending target established by 28 MRS Section 15671A4. Councilor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move for passage of Council Resolve 25-201. Second. I move to amend Council Resolve 25-201 by substitution by replacing it with the amended resolve that has been provided to the council, which reflects the changes adopted by the school board since the initial budget submission. Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Vote to amend by substitution.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
This resolve will authorize the appropriation of local funds in excess of the minimum spending target limit in the amount of $11,756,656. Bangor School Committee recommends $11,756,656 of additional funds and gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model by $11,756,656, for special education in the amount of $3,481,605, transportation $359,779, company and extracurricular activities $1,320,194, technology $813,290, and employee benefits $5,781,788. I move for passage of Council Resolve 25-201 as amended. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
25-201 has passage. Next item.
25-202, resolve making an appropriation of $19,520,915 for the school district contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-K to grade 12 as required by 28 MRS Section 15690-1AB. Councilor Trumbull.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I move passage of Resolve 25-202.
Second.
This will appropriate the local share of the total cost of the essential programs and services funding model in the amount of $19,520,915.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Further questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Actually, I had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor
Sure,
Beck.
yep, for 25-202.
Yep.
The amount that's there, is that reflective of the cuts that were mandated to the school? Or was this amount decided at the time we were presented the budget in April?
It hasn't been amended, so I'm assuming this is an issue.
Right, that's what I was thinking. It has not been amended.
Okay, so this is the, okay.
Yep.
Then yes.
Thank you.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-202 has passage. Next item.
25-203, resolve appropriation from municipal year 2026. Councilor Fournier.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move passage of Council Resolve 25-203.
Second.
I move to amend Council Resolve 25-203 by substitution to replace it with the amended resolve that has been provided to the council, which reflects the changes adopted by the school board since the initial budget submission.
I don't think that's right.
No, that's not right.
That's not right. This is the municipal budget.
You're right. And I'm not sure I have that.
Just say changes made to.
I don't have that. So let me attempt to remedy that. I move to amend Council Resolve 25203 by substitution to replace it with the amended resolve that was provided to the council to reflect the municipal year budget of 2026.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Just looking to the city solicitor to make sure that will suffice.
Yes,
Thank you.
it reflects the changes recommended by the city council and city manager since the submission of the city manager's recommended budget.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just,
That
I
was my
was
fault.
reading and not
Thank you.
thinking.
Well done on the fly. All right, we've got a motion. We have a second to amend by substitution. Roll call vote.
Councillor Beck,
Yes.
Councillor Dean,
Yes.
Councillor Fish,
Yes.
Councillor Fournier,
Yes.
Councillor Hawes.
Yes.
Councillor Leonard,
No.
Councillor Mallard,
No.
Councillor Trumbull,
Yes.
Councillor Pelletier,
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no.
So this amended resolve will appropriate funding for the fiscal year 2026 municipal budget. This amendment includes all changes recommended by the city council and city manager since the submission of the city manager's recommended budget. With that, I will make a motion to move passage for Resolve 25-203 as amended.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion. There's a second. Questions or discussion on this item?
That one here.
Public comment first, or?
Yeah, we'll do public comment first.
Thank you, and I hope that you will all pay attention, please, and thank you. Good evening, my name is Scott Party, and I'm a resident of Bangor. And I'm here tonight as a concerned resident to make a final appeal regarding the proposed property tax increase. We all understand the complexities of city finances, especially in these challenging times. However, the burden of an increased property tax will fall heavily on the shoulders of our citizens, many of whom are already struggling to make ends meet. I want to specifically highlight the profound impact this will have on our senior residences. For many, their homes are their most significant asset, and rising property taxes threaten their ability to remain in the community they built their lives around. At the very least, I implore you to consider a carve-out or a specific program to alleviate this burden for our citizens, and I want you to do it before you approve the budget. It is simply unconscionable to ask those on fixed incomes that have not received any increases, or very, very little, to shoulder an additional potentially crushing tax liability. I understand that crafting a budget is a monumental task, but it is not and should not be the role of this council to dwell into the minutiae of budget line items to find cuts. This is the express purpose of our highly capable city staff. Just as you commendably instructed the school department to live within its means and identify efficiencies, I ask that you issue the same clear directive to our city administration. Empower your staff to find where expenditures can be reduced without compromising essential services. They have the expertise and the mandate to explore every avenue for fiscal responsibility. Finally, I want to address the city's financial reserves. As I understand it, municipalities are typically advised to maintain a prudent reserve of approximately 2 months. I don't know if that's totally correct, but. Okay. Operating expenses for emergencies, yet it appears our city is holding substantial sums in various special reserves, and I would like to know if I could get a copy of how much money is being held in these special reserves. So total, is that possible? Great. While foresight is commendable, one must question if these reserves are becoming an excessive hoard. especially when our citizens are being asked to pay more. Why are these funds not being utilized to bridge this gap? Do we truly need an ordinance to prevent the city from accumulating these funds beyond what is proven? Council members, I urge you to tap into these special reserves instead of reaching into the pockets of our residents, particularly our vulnerable seniors. There are resources available. Let us use them. Let us prioritize the well-being of our community members, instruct our staff to find solutions, and avoid increasing property taxes at this time. And I do want to comment that I thank you for actually having people not all vote yes all the time and have some no's occasionally. And I think it definitely shows participation and that you all pay attention, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to give public comment on this item?
Justin Cartier, resident of Bangor. I'm actually a resident of Holiday Park, mobile home park. Many of the residents of that park are feeling the pinch of the higher taxes. Some of their tax increases might have only been $50 or $100, but it's pushed them to the point where they're having to choose between food and paying their lot rent. I think you really have to consider how much you're going to push out the seniors, just like Scott was talking about. There's several of my neighbors, I mow their lawns because I can't afford to pay anybody to mow their lawns. And I really hope you can do everything you can. You know, you've asked the school board to cut some corners and find out where they can save some money. I ask you now, and maybe Mr. Party has identified a place that you can bridge that gap. And use what you already have instead of digging back into my neighbors' pockets, because they don't have it to give. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council comments? Councilor Leonard?
So I have to vote no on this budget, and one of the primary reasons why is because I don't think we are giving our staff the programs that are, in my opinion, necessary in order to have successful city services for next year. I have concerns that our staff is going to be overworked or they will not be compensated for their time enough. And additionally, I do know that early on in our budget discussions, there were talks with the previous manager about having a debt service that we wanted to conclude by paying the full front of it right now and just not having to pay that for the next few years. And while I do understand that logic, we have, as both these citizens have pointed out tonight, that is north of $2.5 million that we could either use for city services, expanded services, or we could actually throw to the taxpayer right now immediately to reduce those burdens on increased tax for property. Now, one of the things that a council chair can do for the city of Bangor is we can call a special meeting. And what I would like to see is, at minimum, that we rethink this proposal to have this debt service paid immediately right now. And I suggest that we plan to pay the minimum that we need to over the course of the next few years so that we can respond to the issues right now. We're in the middle of a recession, costs are going up, and more city services are going to be requested, and the tax base of the taxpayer is going to be paying not only a higher tax rate, but also food prices are going up, utilities are going up. And we do have to be cognizant of when we hit a recession, now is not the time to save money. Now is the time to invest in city workers and to invest in the taxpayer. And if we do that special meeting, if that is called upon, I would love to see this budget vote put on hold And I would like us to see us take that upfront money that we're paying to end this debt service right now. So granted, we won't have to pay for it next year, but that's north of $2.5 million that we don't have to pay right now. So that's why I have to vote no right now, because it's not just reserves that I'm of the inclination that we can tap into, but we can tap into that money right now. So that's why I'm voting no.
Is there other council discussion? Councilor Trumbull.
This is the 15th municipal budget, and the last municipal budget I'll be voting on. And it's tough, they're never easy. There's never been an easy budget. There's always people that want to spend less. There's always people that want to spend more. I think we've struck a good balance with this budget. The average taxpayer in the city, I think, is going to see an additional, is it $170 on the?
$147.
$147. So, I mean, it doesn't, $12 a month, but it does add up. Everybody's seeing increased grocery bills, increased sewer bills, every bill's electric's going up. But the same token, this budget, school and city, is primarily made up of personnel. So city employees are seeing the same cost increases they have. They would like to see a little more money in their pockets to pay their bills as well. So that's the driver behind this increase in the budget, is because we're paying personnel more. And it might sound nice to say, oh, we've got some reserves, let's take some money, but it's very short-sighted. In 2 years, when you don't have those reserves and you still have those programs to fund, it's going to be hit twice as hard, because you've got to make up what you didn't pay last year and then the increases for those years. So it's very short-sighted to think that we can use reserves to fund a budget. It sounds nice, but it doesn't work in the long run. So I think this is a responsible budget. It's unfortunately, we can't, freeze prices on everything, but this is what it is. Some people are going to have higher bills and some are going to be less, but I think overall it's fair.
Councilor Haas?
Yeah, we've done a lot of these budgets. However, I think that every year we say we have an equitable budget and that we're going to do something next year, or we're thinking about doing something next year. Well, then something else happens. In the meantime, we've done nothing for the seniors. We haven't done anything to help lower the tax rate for the citizens that are living here now, trying to raise their families here or trying to raise their grandchildren. There are people raising grandchildren. I think we need to take the time, and if we can do a special meeting, it really comes back to us, that we sit down and look at it, but we do have to do something, or people are just going to be moving in droves somewhere else. And I don't think the city can afford that either. So I'm going to say no to this. I'm in favor of a special meeting, go back and look at it. But I think we have to come down some for the citizens and the elders.
Thank you. Please do not, no, you've already spoken once during public comment per item. Any other council comments? Councilor Beck?
To the point about reserves and about spending reserves on the budget and leaving yourself with none, I guess I would say that we are completely bankrupting the benefit reserve. So that feels like we kind of threw that out the way. So hearing the other speaker talk about possibly going back at reserves, that was one of the things I brought up in one of our very first budget meetings, was how can we make the best use of our reserves? Because previously, as a citizen, I was coming to that dais right there asking, where did the city come up with $14.7 million over 3 years to shove into reserves? And I was told that time, rainy day fund, it's going to help the taxpayers, it's going to lower the burden. And from these two people who come forward and from people I've heard from, it's raining hard. And I've been grappling with this, and what I'm hearing here, and now I'm hearing about the special meeting idea, I would be in favor of that. There's a way we can get creative and make this neutral. We're not done yet. We got a week before the default happens. I'm hearing a lot of sense now, and that's where I'm at right now.
So two things. Number one, if the council fails to enact a budget on time, which is by June 30th, the city manager's recommended budget will go into effect, which is a higher rate than what we have negotiated here as a team. We worked through this budget week after week for several months, and these concerns, while I hear them, no, I disagree entirely. The city is required by law to maintain a certain amount of reserves. And just to clarify, I want to be sure that I'm speaking about the right issue, but the $2.5 million payment that we're making is due this year. It's the final payment on our debt service for something called MPERS. And so what the previous city manager offered to us to make a choice on was to pay it out of reserves so that we could take it out of this year's annual budget so it's not hitting the taxpayer. So it's not that this money could magically be used for something else. It's either in reserves and you, the taxpayer, have to pay it this year, or we pay it out of reserves and it's subtracted out of the budget. We cannot delay the payment. We can't stretch it out over time. It is due this year. It's the final payment on a really big bill. So I do not think a special meeting is necessary, although a vote may prove me wrong. But when I vote yes on this, I'm voting for us to reduce the mill rate from $18.55, which is what it was last year, to $17.70. Now, some people's taxes may still go up because the value of your home has gone up. But as we learned in the meeting tonight, the average Bangor resident will see $147 additional tax burden over 12 months. And it's a budget of 3.61% increase. Now, I serve on the Maine Mayor's Coalition, so I talk to the mayors of the other major cities in the state of Maine. All of them are north of at least 4% this year by doing exactly what we're doing here, which is we've said yes to no new positions. We've said yes to no new programs. We asked the school committee to go back and reduce their budget for the first time in recent memory to get to this number of 3.61%. It impacts every single person sitting up here, as well as our families and our checkbooks and our wallets. We have to live with the realization that things are getting more expensive. They are. Personnel is more expensive. Everything we buy for the city, from salt to asphalt to paint to stripe the roads to uniforms to police vehicles, everything we purchase has gone up. And so if we hold the line on the budget and don't increase it by $1, that means that each person in our city gets less. Because you can't keep your spending flat when everything is more expensive and maintain the same level of services that the community expects and that we hear from people that they want. Something has to give. So do we buy fewer police cars? Do we pave fewer roads? Do we let the potholes get bigger so your car's axles fall off, right? Those are the questions that we've discussed as a group together week by week for the last 2 months. So it's not popular to say, yes, we're raising taxes by 3.61%, but I'm really proud of the work that this committee has done. Every single person has taken this seriously, and we've done everything that we can to reduce it to a level that still provides the city of Bangor with services without going over 4%, which again is pretty par for the course when you look around the state of Maine. So I am pleased to vote yes on this budget. I do not think we need an additional meeting. And I welcome any additional comments before we go to vote. Councilor Fish.
Working with budget, even though it's only been a couple of years, the City of Bangor budget is very complicated. And I, being a resident and having paid taxes and being a realtor and having many seniors call me with the unfortunate decision that they can no longer afford their homes, happens every day. And it's very heartbreaking, and very, very concerning. And I hope that moving forward, we collectively can focus on our elderly, as well as the young people that are having the burdens of trying to run a household, of how we can continue to try to cut these taxes back. But at the same time, we're between a rock and a hard spot because we have vacancies with department heads. We try to be competitive to let our loyal employees and our staff people know we appreciate them, and it's very hard to keep them. And at the same time, they have the same bills that are increasing as we do, but we need to keep the loyal staff and try to pay them somewhat competitive. And we're really still not as competitive as we should be. So it's very tough to try to balance the department and the city to keep our staff and keep things rolling on day to day as well as we do, keep the services that everyone seems to want, and yet talk to every department about cutting every year. And I think that this year they really did go back and try very hard. So am I thrilled with this budget? No. Do I think that we need to continue to strive to do better? Absolutely. And I hope that the main thing on our agenda for next year is to see how we can cut some of these taxes. But the solutions we have in this 11th hour, I think to go to a special committee is just going to do more damage than good. And I don't know what incredible idea we're going to come up with in this short time. Therefore, I'm voting yes for the budget for tonight.
Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Councilor Pelletier,
Yes, Counselor Mallard.
I just would like to make one comment.
Yes.
I'm inclined to agree with the special meeting, but one of the reasons I am is because I'm concerned that we are now in our second year of without an audit. We've not finished the audit for last year. They're beginning the audit for this year. I question the feasibility of going forward with a massive increase in certain areas until we know how we stood when we ended our fiscal year 2024. So I will be voting no.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
No.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallard?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
5 yes, 4 no.
25-203 has passage. Next item.
25-204, resolve appropriating funds for various capital purposes utilizing various reserves, trust and agency accounts, and other funds for expenditures to be made during fiscal year 2026. Councilor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move for passage of Council Resolve 25-204.
Second.
I move to amend Council Resolve 25-204 by substitution to replace it with the amended resolve that has been provided to the council, which reflects the changes adopted by the school board since the initial budget submission.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Vote to amend by substitution.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallard? He's muted.
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
Thank you.
This resolve will make appropriations from various sources to fund programs or purchases identified in the FY 2026 proposed budget. Over the past 2 months, the City Council has reviewed all requests for various capital and operational needs. The attachment identifies the purchases and the funding source to be used. The following summarizes the recommended appropriations and the source from which they are to come.
I have a question on these amounts here. I'm assuming these are the amounts before the amendment, right? This is the initial,
That's correct.
so is there a way, I don't need the breakdown, but can we get what the new total is that we're approving tonight? Does somebody have that?
I think,
That 3,081,000 is the initial amount, right? Not this amended amount?
sorry, I don't have in the packet, there was both versions.
Somebody have it up.
It would be.
I just have the printed version.
As long as we know, somebody knows what the amended amount is.
I'm pulling it up real quick. What council is it? Tuesday.
Yeah, it's the same. Unless it was further down in the package.
What's that? That must be the initial, though, right?
Yeah, that's the initial.
Yeah, all right. So this is.
Yeah, this is 25,205.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
that's the amended one.
That's the amended one. Yeah. So these amounts.
It is, oh, they've been.
Yeah,
Those
are
are
the
the
amended.
amended.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you for confirming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Should I
thank you.
continue?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm finished reading. Thank
Okay. State LRAP funding, $300,000 was the appropriation. Unassigned fund balance, $380,000 was the appropriation. Local seizure account, $107,000 is the appropriation. Fire equipment reserve, $300,000 is the appropriation. Energy efficiency reserve, $100,000 appropriation. Equipment reserve, $550,000 appropriation. Community connector reserve, $150,000 appropriation. Workman's comp reserve, $35,000 appropriation. Cascade Park Trust, $42,000 appropriation. Parks and Rec Reserve, $192,000 appropriation. Improvement Reserve, $925,000 appropriation. The total, $3,081,000. I move for passage of the Council Resolve 25-204 as amended.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Fish. There's a motion, there's a second. Questions or comments on this item? Roll call vote?
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
25-204 has passage. Next item.
25-205, resolve appropriating downtown TIF funds for expenditures to be made in fiscal year 2026. Councilor Trumbull.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I move for passage of Resolve 25-205.
Second.
This will appropriate $4,079,615 in funds for expenditures to be made from the Downtown Tax Increment Financing Program. During the FY 2026 budget process, the City Council reviewed all requests for various capital and operational needs, some of which were recommended for funding for the downtown TIF funds. These funds may only be expended for purposes identified within the TIF application as previously approved by the City Council and the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development. Allowable projects include those related to downtown and parking, the waterfront, downtown infrastructure improvements, sidewalks, sewer, streets, etc., arena debt services, cleanup of the Penobscot River, and allowable Tier 3 costs. This resolve was reviewed by the council as part of the budget review process.
Thank you, Councilor Trumbull. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote?
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-205 has passage. Next item.
25-206, resolve appropriating $833,082 of fiscal year 2025 Community Development Block Grant funding and $250,000 in anticipated program income. Councilor Leonard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll make a motion on 25-206.
Second.
This resolve will appropriate $833,082 in community development block grant funds for federal fiscal year 2025, fiscal year 2026, awarded through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, as well as $250,000 in program income from anticipated loan payments.
Thank you, Councilor Leonard. We have a motion, we have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Counselor Beck?
I had made an objection during the annual action plan about this item, and my objection still stands. I still don't agree with spending half of that money on one playground and paving roads when affordable housing is such a desperate need in this community, and I would be curious to see what our community development folks could come up with for this money, because they've gotten so creative with this money in the past. I just would like to take that handcuff off them of just those two things, of allow that money to all be used for affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? Roll call vote?
Counselor Beck?
No.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Fish?
Yes.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Hawes?
Yes.
Counselor Leonard?
I'll be an ironic no.
Counselor Mallor?
Yes.
Counselor Trumbull?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
7 yes, 2 no.
25-206 has passage. Next item.
25-207, resolve authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate $1,543,120 in grant funds from United States Housing and Urban Development to fund the Bangor Rental Assistance Program. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This resolve will authorize the city manager to accept and appropriate $1,543,120 in grant funds from United States Housing and Urban Development, HUD, to fund the Bangor Rental Assistance Program, formerly Shelter Plus Care, for operating year April 1, 2025 through August 31, 2026. This is a consolidation of 3 grants totaling $1,543 and $1,543,120 to provide rental assistance to qualified individuals and families to live in Bangor and other communities in Penobscot County. This program promotes housing stability by paying rent for homeless individuals and families. Participants needing case management services are assisted by the Shelter Plus Care housing specialists through referrals for life skills such as healthy living, financial literacy, and employment. These funds are granted through the main continuum of care notification of funding opportunity competition process. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Government Operations Committee on June 16, 2025. I move passage of Resolve 25-207.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Hawes. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote?
Counselor Beck?
Yes.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Fish?
Yes.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Hawes?
Yes.
Counselor Leonard?
Yes.
Counselor Mallor?
Yes.
Counselor Trumbull?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-207 has passage. Next item.
25-208, resolve authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate an additional $27,801 in grant funds from Maine Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to fund Bangor Public Health and Community Services Women, Infants, and Children's Program. Councilor Trumbull.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I move passage of Resolve 25-208.
Second.
This would authorize the city manager to accept and appropriate an additional $27,801 in grant funds from the Maine Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to fund the Women, Infants, and Children's Program for operating year October 1, 2024 to September 30, 2025. The City Council previously approved funds to support Bangor Public Health Community Services 5-year contract with Maine CDC to support the WIC program. These additional funds for year 2 of the contract will be used to support operating costs of the WIC program, including personnel, materials, supplies, and travel. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Government Operations Committee on June 16, 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Trumbo. There's a motion and a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-208 has passage. Brings us to the end of the budget and on to new business.
Public hearing, application for special amusement license of Bangor Grand Aviators LLC, doing business as Blue Sky Lounge, 357 Odlin Road. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move to open the public hearing for the application of special amusement license of Bangor Grand Aviators.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Public hearing is open.
Seeing no one approach, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Public hearing is closed.
I move passage of the application for special amusement license of Bangor Grand Aviators LLC, doing business as Blue Sky Lounge, 357 Odlin Road.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Special amusement license is granted. Next item.
Public hearing, application for special amusement license of Las Palapas Mexican Restaurant LLC, doing business as Las Palapas Mexican Restaurant LLC, 8 Bangor Mall Boulevard. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move to open the public hearing for the application for special amusement license of Las Palapas Mexican Restaurant.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Public hearing is open.
Seeing no one approach. Is his hand up or down?
Oh, it's up, but I think it's up for public comment. It's been up the whole meeting,
Oh, okay.
so.
Okay, seeing no one approach, I will move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Public hearing is closed.
I would move passage of the application for a special amusement license of Las Palapas Mexican Restaurant LLC, doing business as Las Palapas Mexican Restaurant LLC, 8 Bangor Mall Boulevard.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
Special amusement license is granted. Next item.
25-222, order authorizing transfer of $350,000 from Mary Snow School masonry restoration to other school construction projects. Councilor Beck.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This order would authorize the transfer of $350,000 in savings from the Mary Snow School Masonry Restoration Project to other approved school construction projects. On March 23rd, 2023, the City Council approved Council Order 23-103, moving funds from the school's fund balance to fund various capital projects. One project was the masonry restoration of the Mary Snow School, transferring $350,000 to the capital fund to help partially fund the project. The project is complete and was less than the estimated cost. Funding for the project was covered with a school revolving renovation loan, which will be partially forgiven and paid back at 0%. On May 28, 2025, the school committee approved and recommended to move the $350,000 to fund other approved school capital construction projects. Using this funding would reduce the amount needed to be bonded for the projects. With approval, the city finance director and the school director of business services, working with the city manager, will have the flexibility to utilize the funds in the best interest of the city to one or more projects. The school has a number of ongoing projects, including air quality and roofing projects at Bangor High, Vine Street, William Cohen, James Doughty, and Fairmount. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Finance Committee meeting of June 16th, 2025. Madam Chair, I move passage of Order 25222.
Second, Councilor Beck. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-222 has passage. Next item.
25-223, order amending the schedule of fees, fire services. Councilor Hawes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This order seeks to amend the fee structure for excessive use of emergency medical services, EMS, to one flat rate of $550 per request. On June 13th, 2016, Council Order 16-285 established fees for lift assist with no transport at $25 per request for the first 3 requests of the year, and then $125 for 4 or more per year. At the time of its passage, the order acknowledged and sought to deter an ongoing issue with home health care agencies and nursing homes relying on the 911 system to assist with lifting patients who require no additional care. Since implementing the fee schedule, requests have not reduced from healthcare facilities. This trend suggests that healthcare facilities and others continue to rely on the fire department for this purpose. By increasing the fee associated with these requests, it will help to better offset the burden and hopefully encourage alternative situations as these incidents rarely involve injury and always result in limited emergency system resources being committed to non-emergency situations. This item was reviewed and recommended for approval at the Government Operations Committee on June 16, 2025. I move passage of Order 25-223.
Thank you, Councilor Hawes. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or discussion on this item? Do we know if Brody wants to talk about this item or something else?
Hey, I'm sorry, something else. I just got disconnected and had to re-raise my hand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on this item? Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-223 has passage. Next item.
25-224, order authorizing the city manager to renegotiate the development agreement for property located at 8 Harlow Street. Councilor Fish.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This order would authorize the city manager to renegotiate the development agreement for property located at 8 Harlow Street, map 41, lot 89, for the purpose of changing the name on the agreement, replacing a reverter clause with a letter of credit, and modifying the deadlines and the terms of the agreement. In January of 2024, a development agreement with Lewis M. Morrison was endorsed as part of an avoidance to take the property for taxes from the previous owner. In the development agreement, the buyer agreed to complete a list of items needed to be addressed for the building to meet basic code and life safety requirements. In the fall of 2024, Mr. Morrison indicated he was looking for a buyer of the property. He is currently working with Ayers Court LLC as the buyer. The intent of the new agreement is to support the effort for a buyer to bring the building up to code and have the spaces occupied. A letter of credit will replace the reverter clause. The deadlines are also proposed to be modified to a year to finalize financing and architectural engineering needs of the property. In the second year, to complete the renovations. This item was reviewed on council workshop on June 9th, 2025. It returned to the Business and Economic Development on June 16th, 2025, for which the previous vote was rescinded. At this meeting, the committee voted to recommend approval to the council.
Thank you, Councilor Fish. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Councilor Beck?
8 Harlow Street is in a prime location in downtown Bangor and truly a jewel for anyone looking to invest in our city. If activate that property and see a return on that investment. And I'm a strong supporter of responsible and vibrant development that contributes positively to our community. But I can't support this order as presented. My vote today is about the principles of fairness, accountability, and the integrity of our contractual agreements as a city. Just as I believe the city of Bangor is committed to being accountable to all who live, work, and do business here, those who enter into contracts with our city must also be held to those same high standards of accountability. The city entered into an agreement in 2023 with Mr. Morrison, outlining clear expectations and a timeline for making necessary improvements at 8 Harlow Street. That agreement also included a reverter clause, a mechanism specifically designed to protect the city's interests and ensure compliance. The fact that we are here today reviewing this order, which seeks to renegotiate that original agreement with a new entity, comes after a default on the original terms occurred. The December 2024 deadline came and went with no significant funds being spent on the building necessary repairs. That's a conclusion that was presented to the Business and Economic Development Committee on June 2nd. And frankly, that's where a concern arises for me, as I would have expected this to be brought before this body last fall, when it was probably clear that the default was likely. And though we are being held over a barrel, we're forced to react to a situation rather than having the opportunity to strategically address it. I understand and appreciate the city's efforts to find a solution, and I acknowledge that the reverter clause in this specific instance may present legal complexities given the city never technically owned the property. But my concern remains that the city is not adequately compensated or secured for this default. In light of this clear default in the initial agreement, and the ongoing concerns about the property, I believe the city of Bangor has an opportunity to secure more explicit protections and benefits for its citizens. Given the history, a renewed agreement should rigorously define how Bangor would be protected against another default or breach. This could include requiring a performance bond to guarantee the completion of the necessary repairs. Furthermore, I believe the city should have sought a more specific and enforceable timeline with clear milestones for the remediation of the property's significant code issues, particularly those impacting public safety in the exterior. Without these explicit safeguards, the city is at risk where noncompliance will not lead to an adequate compensation or secured performance. This proposed new agreement does not explicitly outline how the city is being made whole for the original default, merely facilitates a real estate transfer stemming from a missed obligation. Critically and crucially, I see nothing in this order that will prevent us from winding up right back here in the same position 2 years from now. It has been stated many times on this dais that Bangor is a corporation. Well, corporations get what they negotiate. By not fully exercising our rights after a clear default, we risk setting a problematic precedent. If we don't show a strong hand in response to an outright default on an agreement, what's to stop others from defaulting, believing we may likely offer new terms without proper enforcement? My no vote is for strong, fair, and enforceable agreements, affirming that accountability goes both ways in our partnerships. I believe the city should convey to developers that Bangor is indeed open for business, but also that we value the integrity of our commitments. We expect our partners to uphold their commitments just as we uphold ours. This is about ensuring that every agreement truly benefits all parties involved, most importantly, the citizens of Bangor.
Thank you, Councilor Beck. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
No.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
No.
Councilor Mallor?
No.
Councilor Trumbull?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
6 yes, 3 no.
25-224 has passage. Last item on the agenda.
25-225 resolve expressing support for the Penobscot Job Corps Center and urging continued federal funding for the Job Corps program. Councilor Leonard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I make a motion on 25-225.
Second.
The Bangor City Council wishes to express support for the Penobscot Job Corps Center and urges continued federal funding for the Job Corps program. The Penobscot Job Corps Center, located here in Bangor, provides vital career and technical education to young adults, equipping them with skills necessary for gainful employment. This program is instrumental in fostering a skilled workforce that contributes significantly to the local economy and community development. We recognize the importance of the Job Corps program in offering life-changing opportunities to underdeserved and economically disadvantaged youth across diverse communities. We acknowledge the positive impact of Penobscot Job Corps Center on our community and believe closure would negatively impact the student and staff, thereby threatening their livelihoods as well as the economic stability of the region. This item was discussed at a council workshop on June 16th, 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Leonard. We have a motion. We have a second. Questions or discussion on this item? Job Corps is one unsung hero in our community, in addition to providing technical education and things we really need, like healthcare and plumbing and welding and other critical skills. It provides opportunity to dozens of students and more than 100 full-time jobs here in the Bangor area. Losing Penobscot Job Corps would be a difficult pill for this community to swallow, and so I hope my fellow councilors will join me in voting for this resolve to express our support, hopefully move the needle at the federal level. Roll call vote.
Councilor Beck?
Yes.
Councilor Dean?
Yes.
Councilor Fish?
Yes.
Councilor Fournier?
Yes.
Councilor Hawes?
Yes.
Councilor Leonard?
Yes.
Councilor Mallor?
Yes.
Councilor Tremble?
Yes.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no.
25-225 has passage. That brings us to the end of the regular agenda. Is there anyone in the room who has not yet offered public comment and would like the opportunity to do so? I do see we have a few hands online. We'll just go in the order they appear in Zoom. We'll start with Doug Dunbar. And as a reminder, please introduce yourself, state whether you're a resident of Bangor, and you'll be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if we want to check to see if anyone on Zoom is from Bangor, but if not, I'll go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot. So much has been discussed and touched upon in tonight's meeting, some really important things. First, when I was fortunate to work as Governor Baldacci's press secretary and his communications director in Washington, and we did so much work with the Job Corps Center. And so I'm so glad you are making this statement. I hope you as individuals and anyone listening will contact Senator King's office, who's been terrific on this, and Senator Collins' office, and express your concern. The more people weigh in, the more capacity the senators will have to try to make a difference. Tying that to homelessness, which I often talk with you about, if the Job Corps Center closes, there may well be more people, young people, unfortunately added to the hundreds of individuals, including too many children, who are unhoused in the greater Bangor area. As you know, Bangor has, I grew up in Bangor, love Bangor, but it is, in some ways becoming the home to an unprecedented homelessness crisis, an unprecedented HIV outbreak, at least in recent times, unprecedented mental illnesses that go unaddressed, really unprecedented overdose deaths. Bangor and Penobscot County are the epicenter still of overdose deaths. While overdoses in general are going down, they've been going up in Penobscot County. So we don't want more people unhoused in the Bangor area, particularly since we have fewer shelter beds in Bangor today than before Bangor and Penobscot County received $50 million in ARPA funds. Not one shelter bed was added back to the number that we lost because of COVID and spacing considerations. So with regard to homelessness, I would say that this Thursday at Bangor Public Library from 5 to 7, there'll be a meal, and people with lived experience of being unhoused, formerly or currently, will be speaking. Others will speak because several groups in the Bangor are coming together for this event. Bangor Public Library, 5 to 7 this Thursday. because it's the anniversary of the Grants Pass decision of the Supreme Court. Actually, Saturday, the 28th is the anniversary, but because that's Pride in Bangor, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. And so I'm very pleased that we're doing this in Bangor, showing our pride. So 2 days earlier, we're discussing the anniversary of Grants Pass. Because in reality, and some people don't like to hear this, Bangor, and Bangor's not alone, has effectively criminalized homelessness. Because if you don't have a place to stay, and our shelters are always full, and we have fewer shelter beds today than we did before $50 million in ARPA funds came, if you want to sleep at night in a park bench or someplace, a public space, you're not allowed to do that. And if you say no, police officer, yeah, you get the idea. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hillary Simmons?
Good evening, members of the board and community members. My name is Hillary Simmons, and I'm here because something doesn't sit right with me. I noticed that a proclamation was made for Pride Month. It's important to honor and uplift the LGBTQ plus community, but what's hard to understand and swallow is why a proclamation wasn't issued for Black History Month. Both months matter. Both represent communities that have faced deep struggles, injustice, and erasure, and both deserve equal recognition. This isn't about one community versus another. It's about transparency and consistency. It's about respect. It's about sending a message that Black history is not an optional footnote. It's a core part of American history. It's a source of pride, resilience, and inspiration, and it deserves the same official acknowledgement that other communities receive. So I respectfully ask, why wasn't a Black History Month proclamation approved? What message does that send to our Black students, families, neighbors, and leaders? I hope this wasn't about politics or personal bias, because when recognition is given to one group but not another, and there's no transparent reason why, it feels like more than just oversight. It feels like silence, and silence sometimes speaks volumes. I urge this board to reflect on this decision, revisit the process, and make sure that moving forward, we honor all communities with equal respect. Thank you as far as that. I just have a couple questions, and I tried to raise my hand for the Job Corps situation. With Job Corps, what is their graduation rate to employed rate? What do we think of Eastern Maine Community or EMDC as far as training our youth? And how many out-of-state people come here for training with Job Corps? And again, I go back to the graduation rate and the employment rate to graduation rate. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to mention that we did at the previous council meeting acknowledge and celebrate Juneteenth. Brody?
Hey, thank you. I actually live in Portland. Is it okay for me to speak now?
Please state your name.
Oh, my name's Brody Wood. Is it okay for me to speak now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Brody Wood. I live in Portland. I have a background in education and library work as well. I'm not sure if it's permissible for me to respond to another person who spoke, but I will just say I independently also support.
Sorry about that. Keep going.
I would support and would love to see a proclamation for Black History Month. Another thing that I'd like to speak on is speaking out against any sort of Penobscot County Jail expansion. So I live in Portland, but am aware of this and following this. And the reason why I don't support that is just because I don't believe that jails and prisons help individuals or communities. They don't address the root causes of crime and why people commit crimes. And I think there are other things that we can be doing as a community that would prevent crime from happening in the first place. Things we've sort of talked about, things like mental health services, housing, education, community projects that keep people connected rather than isolated. And, you know, punishment and imprisonment, it isn't what people really need after they have committed a crime, you know, whether or not we think it was wrong. What happens in jails and prisons is so dehumanizing. And removing people from their communities only creates more isolation, and it tears families and communities apart. And so when I think about this kind of thing, I sort of do this imagination exercise where I imagine, like, what else could we be doing with the money that we use, you know, for jails, and imagining that, and then the next step, you know, is to like actually believe that it's possible and then make it a reality. And so I just wanted to offer that, and you know, ask you all to like consider that too, as, you know, this conversation about expanding the jails going forward. That's my time.
Thank you. Yeah, you're out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Claire Davitt?
Good evening, counselors. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate how you guys have shifted around public comment so that you get more meeting time. I just wanted to say first that I appreciate the budget vote, and to the counselors who voted in favor. That means a lot that you did that. I know the amount of work that goes into the back end with that for staff and counselor time. So thank you to Counselor Pelletier, Counselor Fish, Counselor Fournier, Counselor Trumbull, and Counselor Dean. My specific reason for calling in is just to thank for Pride Proclamation. I realized that 1992 was the first Bangor Pride, and I was in 8th grade. So 33 years ago, and I have to say back then I definitely didn't know about it. And now I've gone to the past, I don't know, 10 since I moved back to Bangor, and to see the youth there, the kids with their parents and other adults, it makes me so proud of my hometown. I want to thank Bangor Pride and Cam and Sam and everyone who's doing this work that has been all month, not just for one day. The Charlie Howard Memorial was really moving and much appreciated. And just to speak to why this matters every year and every day, really, is just when people don't think about how things can change in really small ways, especially at a city level, but awareness gets built. When I first was elected to council in 2017, a community member reached out to me. She and her wife were requesting wedding certificates, and noticed that the forms that you fill out had gender, husband, wife, same with birth certificates, father, mother, and they asked if that's something that could be changed to make it, gender neutral. And we as a council talked about it, and it went through the clerk's office, and this one small thing has made it so that everything is more equitable in this one little way for folks. To see that happening, or that the city has done in 2020, decided to go towards gender neutral language in everything that we do as we go forward. That these are just little things, but they add up to make Bangor a welcoming and safe place for LGBTQ folks, because we know it's really unsafe out there in general, especially for our teens and our youth of color. So again, I love that that we do this every year. I look forward to it every year, and I hope that people continue and understand the importance and have a safe and celebrate Happy Pride. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands online, we'll close public comment and allow for councilor closing comments. Councilor Beck?
I would just say a big thanks to everybody from top to bottom who was involved in the budget. I mean, clearly we had different votes, but that doesn't negate the fact that a lot of work went into that budget. A lot of late nights from staff coming here to answer our questions, help us with the process, and the fact that we had to navigate a unique situation with an outgoing city manager, a compressed timeline. There's a lot to juggle, and everybody from top to bottom made it work. And that especially also includes everyone here on this dais. You all showed up and did the late nights. We all did the late nights, and a lot of decisions had to be made. And I don't want that to be lost in the vote. But this was a lot of work that everybody put in, and I personally am grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Dean?
Good night, Bangor.
Counselor Leonard?
Hope everyone enjoys a great summer season coming up. Please drink water. Please drink water. Have a good night.
Thank you. Counselor Fournier?
Good night.
Thank you. Counselor Trumbull?
I would just echo that thanks to the staff for the budget process. It was a great process. I think people had a chance to have input early if they wanted to. Current finance director Dave Little did a tremendous job, I think. And this Debbie Laurie, our former city manager, was involved intimately with the budget too. And this is every budget I voted on, Debbie's been a part of, either as finance director or city manager. So she will be definitely missed as part of the budget process going forward, but I won't be part of it either. So good night.
Thank you. Counselor Hawes?
Good night.
Counselor Fish?
Good night.
Counselor Mallor?
Good night.
That will be a very good night. Thank you, everybody.